bro. How are you?
Well, first of all, let me congratulate you. I'm very happy for you.
Bro.
As someone that took the Saints in the knockout pool, you got a little bit of a scare last night.
A little bit of a scare? Let me tell you something right now. At 20-3, with Justin Herbert looking like Dan Fouts.
Oh.
I got to tell you. Now, the Saints were helping, too, because they had that roughing the kicker penalty that set up a touchdown. You know, Breeze threw a terrible pick that set up a touchdown. Did get a break with the missed extra point, which became big in this game. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, the missed extra point turned out to be a big deal in this game. But, yeah, I wasn't feeling too good at 20-3. I wasn't feeling too good with about 4.5 minutes left in the game when Herbert hits Mike Williams, who was, I mean, you could not be any more. But the Saints defense was very good in the second half. And I don't know what happened. Patrick Robinson, I guess, was the guy who just stopped covering him.
Yeah.
Williams went down the sideline. He's wide open before you know it. Now it's 27-20. And I got to tell you, at that point, I'm very nervous. The Saints come back, and, of course, eventually they tie the game up. Taysom Hill, and I want to get to the thing with Taysom Hill because I got to tell you, if I was a fan of the Saints, I wouldn't be thrilled with the way that Peyton throws Taysom Hill into these games for no reason, as far as I'm concerned.
Way too much. Way too much.
Oh my God! I know that they got the touchdown there. Had the touchdown run to tie the game up. But anyway,
it ruins the flow of the offense when they do that with Taysom Hill.
And he puts them in. And he did score that touchdown. But here it is, the game basically on the line. It's 27-20, the closing minute or whatever it is of the game. And he decides, let me take Breeze out. It's third and whatever it was for the first down on like the 10-yard line, and let me put Taysom Hill in the game.
Yeah.
I mean, I unbelievable. But anyway, all right, they tied the game up, and then they just, they left Herbert too much time, and I thought it was over when was it Badgley the kicker? Yeah. When he lines up for that field goal, I'm like, yeah, he's making this. I mean, I'm okay. Well, I got one pick left in the pool. That was my thought process.
That's what you're thinking, yeah.
And of course, he had missed the extra point earlier. And then he clanks the potential game-winning field goal. And then, they do what they have to do. They got the drive. They get the field goal to take the lead. And then the big play on fourth down.
Marshawn Lattimore, play of the game right there.
Lattimore and DeMario, too. Because DeMario kind of stood him up on that play to make sure he couldn't fall over for the first down. So
yeah, the usage of Taysom Hill feels as if – you know what it feels like?
I don't get it, bro.
They're paying him a lot of money, and they almost have to excuse his existence. I get Drew Brees isn't Drew Brees anymore, and that's, I think, painfully obvious.
Yeah,
but not to the point where I'm taking him out at odd points of the game, and I'm kind of trusting Taysom Hill to make a play, which he did. I give him credit. He made a play with his legs. On a third down play, that is not exactly the moment in which I want the Hall of Fame quarterback without the ball in his hands.
Hey, look, there were too many times in the game where all of a sudden, for no reason in my mind, Hill's in the game and Breeze is off the field.
Yeah.
And I don't get it. That's Sean Payton. I think he gets a little too cute as well, as a lot of coaches do. But
look, when he gets cute doing that with the Jets in a few years, I'll live with it. I'll be okay with it.
Right.
I'll be all right.
Well, him and Trevor Lawrence are hooked up together, right? That's,
right.
We can only pray that that's going to be the case. But
how about Emmanuel Sanders?
He had a great game.
My God.
But, in place of Michael Thomas, who obviously doesn't play because he punches out some teammate or whatever he did. But,
but Justin Herbert was also incredibly impressive.
They got something with Justin Herbert. I know he hasn't won a start. They've had some. The Chargers have had some horrific losses. I mean, come on. Oh, my man, look at the games they led. The Kansas City game, they should have won that game. They had the big lead on Tampa. Was it 24-7? They blew that game. They got a 20-3 lead in this game. They blow this game to the Saints. I mean, they have had some just horrible losses.
It seems like the Chargers have had horrible losses for the last two decades, by the way.
Right, forever.
That's not new to them. But
No. It doesn't matter It doesn't matter who the quarterback is. You could go back to John Hadel.
Yeah.
I don't think it really matters who the quarterback
is. When you're only 4 starts into an NFL career, obviously, early on, yes, you want to see some wins. I mean, we're at that point here, obviously, with Daniel Jones with the Giants and Sam when he actually plays. But I think against some of the competition they've played, because think about who they've lost to, even in these winnable games. His first start is against the Kansas City Chiefs, in which he had no idea he was going to play. They lose to Tampa Bay on the road. They lose to New Orleans on the road. Even the Carolina loss. I mean, the Panthers look like a competent football team, but he is showing you signs that he's got a chance to be very, very good.
And even that game, go back to that Carolina game, and I forgot about it. That's the game where if Keenan Allen, who gets hurt early in this game, if Keenan Allen executes that lateral ball to Eckler, it's a walk-in touchdown.
Yeah.
And the Chargers win the game.
No, you're right. You're right.
So they have had some just oh my God! I'm thrilled they lost last night, but they definitely got something there with Herbert. I don't think that there's no question.
Yeah, I think if you're a Charger,
Taylor's days are done. There's
no, and it's unfortunate what happened to Tyrod Taylor. But when you draft a quarterback in the first round, your plan is for that guy to be the guy, and it just so happened it occurred a few weeks earlier because of the unfortunate situation of Tyrod. But clearly, Justin Herbert has to play. I don't think there's any doubt about it. And it hurt him when Keenan Allen went out with an injury in this game too.
Yes, no, Williams had a good game, no doubt about it. They don't have, really, without Keenan Allen and without Eckler, they don't have a lot of big weapons on that offense there.
Yeah, you're talking about Hunter Henry and Mike Williams, and they've got the kind of the two-headed monster, if you will, at running back now with Eckler out and Justin Jackson and Joshua Kelly. Yeah, it's not great, but he gives you signs, man. He makes some incredible throws. We've seen that over the last few weeks since he started for the Los Angeles Chargers, as odd as that is to say.
That's crazy. It's going to take me a long, long time to get used to the L.A. Chargers.
Well, don't get too used to it because I still believe that someday.
Wind up back in San Diego again? I can see it. Yeah. Why not? I can see it. Look, that stadium was built for the Rams.
Exactly.
Who's kidding who? That stadium. You can talk about the Chargers playing there, but that stadium was built for the Rams.
Yeah. No, that's why it wouldn't stun me if in the next decade they end up back in San Diego. That's probably where their fan base is anyway. I assume Charger fans are still watching them. They may not be traveling once they're allowed in the stands, but
there's actually some Charger fans around. It's even here. It's surprising. I don't know. I guess they go back to like Fouts and John Jefferson and Kellen Winslow and those guys. And even guys like my age that go back to Lance Allworth. That go back that far.
You know what I think it is in the NFL more than the NBA to a degree too because of the star power, but the NFL is the kind of sport where you can move around the country and see people root for every team.
Yeah,
the NFL is such a kind of national sport, and I think a part of it is that it's only 16 games and it's easier to kind of watch your team even if you're not living in that area. With the NFL Sunday ticket. So
yeah, no doubt. And you know what? Even if you didn't have the ticket back in the days when there was no ticket, a lot of people, and we talk about it all the time. You had so many Cowboy fans. You had so many fans of Raider fans, Dolphin fans. The Steeler fans now have become, come on. To me, we talk about it all the time. To me, Pittsburgh's now America's team. Forget about the Cowboys.
Right? Feels that way. You're right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So.
All right, on to the bad stuff. So now we've got Le'Veon Bell and Adam Gase, who haven't liked each other since the moment he was signed. Adam Gase never wanted him. Le'Veon Bell's been a massive disappointment as a New York Jet. I wanted the Jets to sign him. It has not worked out.
No.
And by the way, it hasn't worked out for a myriad of reasons, okay? It's not just one reason. If you want to argue Le'Veon Bell isn't the same guy he was in Pittsburgh, that's an easy argument to make. He lacks that explosiveness. That's fair. You can also say the Jet
also
offense
lacks the Pittsburgh offensive line and the team in general in Pittsburgh.
Well, I was going to get to that. Think about the team that he's on.
Of course.
The quarterback and the weapons around him, but more importantly, the offensive line in front of him. And here's the other thing that matters, because there's a track record of this, Joe. Adam Gase tends to not get the most out of his players. We've seen that over the years, especially when those guys end up in other places. So the signing of Le'Veon Bell is a clear failure. We'd all admit that. We've gotten to this point, though, for many reasons. It's not just one reason, and Adam Gase is a part of it. And they clearly don't like each other. Adam Gase doesn't love Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell doesn't like Adam Gase. That's why he's sitting there on Twitter liking tweets that say the Jets should trade Le'Veon or, Adam Gase is an idiot, whatever the heck he's liking. And now we're in the moment here where everybody's reporting, Manish Mehta had it first, though, so we'll give him some credit, that the Jets are now, quote, trying to trade Le'Veon Bell.
Well, look, why not? At this point, even if you get a 6th, 7th round pick for him, you're not going to get much. They're probably going to have to kick money in, too. But you know what? Costello had a good column today in the Post just talking about it and how it's really, they're not playing P-Ryan because of that. I'd rather see the kid play. Let's see what he is. You know what I mean?
Well, sure, but you could say the same thing about Frank Gore at this point then, too.
Of course. No question. No question about it.
I don't know if they can even get
That's his guy, though. Frank Gore's his buddy. You know that.
And, Joe, when you don't have a lot of buddies, when you do have a buddy, you better hold on to him.
Well, and I saw he ain't going anywhere, Frank Gore.
No, and I don't think they're getting anything for Le'Veon Bell.
No.
Le'Veon Bell, for many reasons, kind of like the Le'Veon Bell struggles with the Jets, there's a few reasons why they get nothing for him. Number one, the money he makes. Number two, the way he's played. And I'll give you the third reason. Look around this league. you can get production out of running back without paying a hefty price.
No question. The other thing, too, is, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, Gage just hasn't used them right. You know, with the lack of wide receivers that this team has, he should be playing that. They should have him use Bell as like a wide receiver. Have him split out. You know he can catch the ball. I don't get why that hasn't happened, to be very honest.
Because he's not a good head coach.
Well, that's it.
There's your simple answer. Because
right, I mean, yes, I know the answer, but you're right.
This isn't who's to blame, Le'Veon Bell or They're both to blame.
Right.
Adam Gase doesn't know how the hell to use him. Le'Veon Bell doesn't look like the same explosive player he was in Pittsburgh. The Jet talent around him and in front of him is not nearly as good as what he had in Pittsburgh. And when you add that all together, you have this. A guy who has been a massive disappointment since he's been here.
Yep.
And the reason it, to me, made sense to sign Le'Veon Bell was not because I think running backs are worth $1 billion, but because I thought it was important to put as many talented weapons around Sam Darnold. And the Jets have failed to do so. Mike McCagnon tried by bringing in Le'Veon Bell, but for the reasons we gave, it hasn't worked out. And obviously, as we saw during this offseason, Joe Douglas has completely failed to put weapons around young quarterback.
No question.
So the intent of signing Le'Veon Bell always came from a smart place, from a good place. But it hasn't worked. He was a massive disappointment last year, again, for all of those reasons, the coach included, on why it hasn't worked out for him.
There's no doubt.
So, of course, they should trade him.
Yeah.
And the truth is, Joe, if you're not going to be a part of the future of this organization, and I don't know how many guys on this roster are, then everybody should be for sale.
Yeah, hey, look, I don't outside of a handful of guys on this team, and there's not many, a handful of guys, Quentin Williams jumps out at me as a one guy. I mean, I don't think you're trading him. I mean, we want to see what he is. Obviously, you're not trading Mekhi Becton, okay? But, I mean, look, who knows? I mean, look, obviously, if they do wind up with the number one pick in the draft, Sam Darnold's going to be tradable. Let's be honest about it.
Sure, of course. This is not the opportune time to deal him based on where his value is right now.
No, I don't think that's the thing to do.
No, it was – look, the time to trade Sam.
I want to see him play the season out. Can he play? Hopefully he plays Sunday. Who knows? We can only
hope. Of course. We are at the point, though, 3 weeks ahead of the NFL trade deadline, where if you are not a part of the future, and like you said, I think you hit on a few of the guys that are a part of the future.
There's not a lot, right.
I would have that long list out there, and yeah, of course, get what you can get. What the hell's the difference? You're not winning any games this season. Most Jet fans now are accepting they don't want any wins this season. So if there are actually pieces on your roster of value, and there really aren't, let's be fair, there's not a lot of guys that teams are going to say, boy, I got to trade for Pierre Desir. I got to bring him in.
I hate to say the guy because he is very productive, and that's Jameson Crowder. I mean, that would be a guy that maybe somebody would want. I mean, obviously, he's a very good player. You know, he's been one of the few productive guys on the team. I don't really want to deal him because
you know why I wouldn't? You know why I would say no? And it's not because of merely I'm taking a weapon away from Sam when he's healthy, but because when Trevor Lawrence walks through that door.
That is true. That's a great call.
He needs to have some semblance of weapons around him and veteran players.
Right.
Because you can't have the same problem that you had with Sam. The failure of Sam Darnold, and let's all admit, we have now entered that world. It's been a failure. He's not going to be the quarterback long term.
Nope.
And it's not all his fault, obviously.
No. Oh, no, definitely not. It definitely isn't.
But
I'm
a big part
of
it.
An NFL quarterback. He is an NFL quarterback. But you look into the future, and they're going to be the number one pick. They're taking Trevor Lawrence.
Exactly.
There's no doubt they're doing that.
He's gone. Yep. He's gone. And I think a testament to the view that teams have on Sam is not necessarily what the Jets get back, but Sam is probably going to go somewhere else and get a chance to play. I don't think he's going somewhere else to be a backup.
No, he'll get a shot, and it'll tick us off if he goes somewhere that's.
Of course,
we always say the Steelers. I mean, I could see that he'll be the guy to replace Roethlisberger.
San Francisco now, if the Jimmy Garoppolo thing isn't going to happen.
That's exactly right. That's exactly. Wherever he goes, he'll be going to somewhere where it's a pretty good team there already. I would think that
he's going to go to a place where there's competent coaching, and there's going to be offensive weapons around him.
Right.
So we have entered a world. It's sad that we are saying this a month into the season, but it's true if we're calling it like it is. The Sam Darnold era is over. I mean, it's a very unlikely scenario that Sam Darnold gets healthy, turns around this season, they don't draft Trevor Lawrence, and he turns out to be the long-term answer Jet fans envision. The odds of that happening right now are very low.
Very low.
They just are.
Very low.
And so whether it's Le'Veon Bell or anyone else that you don't kind of view as being a part of the long-term plan, and I would include Crowder a part of the long-term plan for the reasons I gave, so I'd kind of put him on that short list.
Okay.
Well, then, yeah, I'd be open to dealing anybody, but let's not dilute yourself. They're not getting anything for Le'Veon Bell. They have killed his value. He's killed his value. Gase has killed his value. He makes too much money. The Jets are getting nothing for Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah. No, you're right. Look, the 7th-round pick, that's probably what if you get anything, that's what you get.
We'll come back and get to your calls. We'll talk to Blake Martinez of the Giants, Avery Williamson, who had a very nice day for the Jets. We'll talk some baseball later on. Some bad news for Clayton Kershaw, who got scratched right before first pitch in Game 2.
Is that right? I didn't hear that. He's not pitching today, Kershaw?
He is not pitching today because of this back issue. So
that's one reason to watch that game. I mean, I honestly, one reason, I was actually thinking, I was saying to myself, it starts early, too, which is good because I'm going to be watching football. But one reason to watch that game, is to watch a Hall of Fame pitcher.
I agree, especially a Hall of Fame pitcher who's under this microscope of can he do it in a big spot, even though he's had a lot of big moments in the big spot where he's been bad, a lot of moments where he's been good. He's been very mixed throughout his career.
Very mixed. He's had a lot of opportunities. He's been very mixed.
No questions. We'll touch on the baseball a little bit later on as well. We'll kick it off with your calls next, 877-337-6666 as we take you right up till 6.